Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome you to the 2025 Carroll County 4-H and FFA Meat Goat Show. Our evening will begin with showmanship. Then we'll proceed into the goat show, the market show. We will be starting 18-year-old showmanship in just about 2 minutes. It's 5 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get this started. Exhibitors, please make sure you stay hydrated as well as your goats. We're going to start with Class 1, Senior Fitting and Showing, 18-year-olds. I have 4 exhibitors: Andrew Natz, Colleen Haynes, Wyatt Snyder, and Gannon Hackler. You may proceed into the ring at this time. Age 17, if you're 17 in Class 2, you need to be in the makeup area. Again, we are starting with 18-year-olds. I need the 4 in the ring. And I've got them. We're ready to go. I need the following 17-year-olds in the makeup area at this time: Rihanna Granger, Riley Dell, Alyssa Costa, Jenna Stamball, Josie Wilhide, Kylie Medlin. Again, 4-H'ers, 17 and younger, should be ringside at some place, watching how the judge is having us move through the ring. This will help our show run smoother this evening.
Okay, well, if you were with us last night, we took a little bit of time in showmanship, and I don't know if, maybe some of you were a little concerned it took longer than it needed to, but I'm just going to tell you, I think it's an important part of the show. You know, for our boys when they were little, but this is kind of what we competed for, was showmanship, and then we get a little more serious when we got older on the market side of it. So we will take some time. Maybe what I'll do tonight is not spend so much time on the mic talking about each exhibitor and what they did right or wrong. I'm going to try to do that more one-on-one. So I think as a general thing, the first thing we mentioned here to these fellows was to make sure you keep the goat between us. They got a little bit on the wrong side. We went to take off, and the young lady that ends up winning this year, you did that right, okay? Now I think we can work a little harder to get him set up and get him presented, but you did the big things, you know, in terms of the presentation and keeping the goat between us the best of all. So at any rate, we get off to a nice start. The other thing I want to make sure everybody understands, I think you guys would like to have, when you come back in here, 2 separate rows, a row for the first place, a row for the second place in showmanship, and that's fine. But I just want to tell you, the people that stand in the second row have just as good a chance of winning showmanship in this division as the people standing in the first row, okay? So just because you were second in class doesn't mean you don't have a chance to win showmanship. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so it's still a whole new game. When we come back in here a second time, you two will come back in the second time. It's a whole new ball game, okay, for our senior division. All right, give them a nice hand. We're off to a good start. Congratulations.
Give those kids another round of applause. These kids are showing for the last time here in the ring. They are 18 years old. This is their final parade. They will meet at the backdrop later for a picture, but for now, we want to wish them all the best. Into the ring, we are bringing our 17-year-olds, and we have the following entries: Rihanna Granger, Riley Dell, Alyssa Costa, Jenna Stamball, Josie Wilhide, and Kylie Medlin. At this time, I need our senior 16-year-old division to be in the makeup area. Trenton Horrocks, Elena Enoff, Miranda Murfin, and Jaden Fieser Favorite. Please start making your way to the to the makeup area.
All right, again, we've made some general comments. Quite honestly, this happened really quick. I went through and handled them. This young lady did the best job in getting that goat ready for me and get my hands on him, so very nice. He's probably not the best when we get him on the go, though, so again, he could be a little more cooperative for you when we get him on the walk out here. So, and I told the young lady, actually, that's one advantage you have with him. He's been a lot more, we're just going to go on out. And I appreciate everybody shaking our hands, but we'll try to avoid the spread of fungus today and not worry about that. So, young lady, good job. I just want you to be ready when I come in to handle them, okay? Again, I've talked with all of you. Mom and Dad, if you have a question, ask them. And then if you have a bigger question afterwards, you can come see me after the show. How's that? Give them all a nice hand. Ladies, great job.
Congratulations to our 17-year-old exhibitors in Class 2. First went to Kylie Medlin, second to Alyssa Costa, third to Riley Dell, fourth to Jenna Stamball, fifth to Josie Wilhide, and sixth to Rihanna Granger. We're ready to move on to our 16-year-old showmen. We're looking for Trenton Oryx, Elena Enoff, Miranda Murfin, and Jaden Feeser Favorite. We should have 4 entries in this class. We do need Lexi Zepp to make her way to the makeup area. Again, Lexi, come on down to the makeup area.
Hello and welcome to the 2025 Carroll County 4-H and FFA Fair. My name is Sam Chamberlain and I'm a former 4-H'er, 4-H parent, 4-H volunteer, and 4-H leader, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Market Goat Show here this evening. Now, to be fair, maybe goat isn't everyone's favorite meat, but I can tell you that goat is one of the fastest growing projects here at the fair. It's a wonderful introductory livestock project for kids, and we're discovering there's a lot more that you can do with goat than maybe you thought at the beginning. And we've got a wonderful group of 4-H'ers and FFA members that we're going to introduce you to tonight over the course of the evening, tell their stories a little bit, and watch them show off their projects. So over the course of the night, we're going to be bringing you some interviews and some commentary. We'll be bringing you the great moments in the ring as well, and we look forward to engaging you with that. If you're watching with us online via our socials or on YouTube, we invite you to leave a comment. If you have questions or want to know something, ask questions. We'll see what we can do to get our 4-H'ers to answer them for you. So we look forward to hanging out with you this evening here at the Market Goat Show.
All right, nice. And this young lady doesn't win this competition because her goat shows good. She wins because she does the little things right that are necessary in terms of giving me the right view. I walked down the front. She was the most ready for me. And again, there's some things that are going to inhibit her just a little bit here in this final drive if the goat don't start paying attention. We just need to get him put together a little quicker and get him to have a little more endurance. So I thought the young lady here in second, I told her, really nice job in the presentation of your goat. You did the best in getting him set up. We just need to be a little more prepared, right, when I come down the front of him. But really good job in getting that goat to walk and certainly getting them put together. So, and the next two goats just maybe I'm not going to blame it so much on the showman as the goats just need to be a little quicker to respond to what needs to be done out here. I told this young man I'd like for that goat to kind of hold it a bit more. He just doesn't have quite the endurance yet. But good job, gang. And again, congratulations on a very competitive group, very similar group of showmen here in this particular age division.
I'd like to congratulate our 16-year-old exhibitors. First, Elena Enoff. Second, to Miranda Murfin. Third, to Jaden Feeser, favorite. And fourth, to Trenton Oryx. We're now ready for Class 4. We have a single entry in our 15-year-old division.
We're not, we just have a single entry, and I was hoping to get some more goats out here to give this one a buddy so she'd show a little bit better, and I guess we're not quite ready for the next class. So at any rate, we're going to give you a little better look when we get some friends out here with this goat. It's hard enough in all the other species when you're the Lone Ranger, but I know a goat, like sheep, oftentimes they need to have some buddies standing around. So right now I would say, for what little I've seen, you do a great job in getting that goat set up. The goat maybe not such a great job walking, so we'll get some friends out here and we're going to reload and see how you look in the senior division. All right? Congratulations.
Congratulations, Alexi Zepp, first in age 15. We are now ready for Class 5, Senior Fitting and Showing, age 14. We have 3 exhibitors, Gwen Boyle, Addison Wagner, and Owen Hackler.
All right, this a good case here. I think both these young ladies have done a very nice job. I told them we're going to place them like this for now, and then we'll get back in here in our senior lineup, and we're going to could just as easily be swapped, because I think they're both very good showmen. They're good at their craft. They get their goats set up. Right now, I'd say we just a little quicker to get the bigger weather put together from the side. But when I went in to handle them, I probably liked the way the young lady here in seconds had her goat ready for me once I got my hands on them. So both of you do a very nice job. The young man, I tell you what, he gets that thing propped up. He can look really good. I told him I'd like for him to work a little bit more out front once he gets them stopped, and so we needed to give himself just a little more room to work with. But done a good job. He's got that rascal Broquel to lead, and done a good job in getting them presented.
Congratulations to Class 5 Senior Fitting and Showing, age 14. First, Addison Wagner. Second, Gwen Boyle. And third, Owen Heckler. We're now going to select our champion and reserve champion senior showman. For those of you around the ring, our judge has requested that all first and seconds will compete for champion divisions. That means that the seconds have a chance to come in and still win champion. Again, they're starting on a clean slate as we go into our division champions. In the ring at this time, from 18-year-olds, we have Colleen Haynes and Andrew Natz. Your 17-year-old division is being represented by Kylie Medlin and Alyssa Costa. 16-year-olds, Elena Enoff and Miranda Murfin. Your 15-year-old division representative is Lexi Zepp. And your 14-year-old division winners are Addie Wagner and Gwen Boyle. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and congratulate all our competitors in our senior division. We're looking for our intermediate division, age 13, Wyatt Keeney, Grayson Cromer, Madison Myers, Alexis Oryx, and Kylie Kaler to be in the makeup area at this time. While our judge continues to work our senior division, we would like to thank Legacy Septic and Excavation LLC for sponsoring the award for Champion Senior Fitting and Showing, and Getz's Candy Company for the Reserves Champion sponsorship.
All right, nice job. And this is not in a particular order. I did have these first 3, 4, 5 that I wanted up here on the top end to just see how they continue to do. And I think they've kind of, as we've worked here longer, they've kind of sorted out pretty easily for me, and especially up here in our champion. The young lady here with the white weather wins this and wins it pretty handily. Just a nice job in the presentation. Always prepared for me when I come in to handle them. She's always got them on point, and gives you a nice handle. So, and I think what happens too, she's got a goat that, as you noticed when we switched them, he's just a little on the edge on being a little skittish, and her personality is such that she kind of stays a little more relaxed and maybe doesn't get in quite as big a hurry. And that would be probably the thing that I would tell the young lady here in our green pants. Just slow down. You know, you grabbed him and all of a sudden I could just feel your heart rate going, bring, 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 okay? Just slow down. It really kind of boiled down to the next two for our reserve. And I thought the young lady here with the big weather, there's at times she does a really nice job. And then at times I kind of catch you napping. There's been a couple times when I go in to handle him and you just weren't ready, okay? You know you're not going to win a show if your goat don't handle good. Okay, you know that. We all know that. So be prepared. Twice, I think I went in there and he was just kind of being just an old limp rag, okay? That goat's got it in him. I can tell it. He's got it in him, so be a little more prepared. I wanted to switch around because young lady in the green pants, you have not a very good goat to show. You know, he's just hard to make look right. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to get a hold of one that's a little nicer and see what it's like. I guarantee it, she will agree that goat's not any fun to show either, because he's just put together by a committee. So it's kind of a nice deal, because I want to see how you two could handle something that's a little different than what you're used to. Now, even though that goat is not very pretty to look at, you do about as good a job to make him look as good as he possibly can, okay? I don't think the good Lord himself can make that goat look as good as you do. So good work. And you do a much quicker job in getting him. I scolded you in class. I remember I said be a little more prepared when I get my hands on him. Ever since then, you've been ready, you know. So the only thing I'm going to say is just slow down, okay? You're in the thick of things. And I had one of my sons the same way. His pulse rate was always like this. And sometimes I just wanted to give him about a couple of shots of whiskey to slow him down, you know. We're in a 4-H show. I shouldn't say that. Nonetheless, you're going to be our reserve champion. Congratulations. What a great group of seniors. Good job. Give me the fist. How's that? Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job. Very nice job.
Congratulations to all our senior exhibitors. If you were in the 18-year-old division, you're needed at the backdrop at this time. Again, if you are an 18-year-old exhibitor, please proceed to the backdrop at this time. That would be Colleen Haynes, Andrew Natz, Wyatt Snot. I apologize, it's after showmanship. After showmanship. Ignore me, 18-year-olds, and go back to doing what you were doing. Class 8, fitting and showing, intermediate division. We have Wyatt Keeney, Grayson Cromer, Madison Myers, Alexis Horitz, and Kaylee Kaler are in the ring at this time. I need Class 9 intermediate showman age 12 in the makeup area. While our judge sorts Class 8. For those of you who have been hanging around for the week, it is time for alumni showmanship to open. For those of you who are not aware, we'll do an alumni showmanship at the conclusion of the market show.
I think she's got you. She's got you. Yeah. All right, nice job. This young lady has been very efficient. Goats worked pretty good for her out here on the lead, and been just a little quicker to get them put together. I like the posture of several of you in here. I think you look good. The other comment I'm going to make, this is probably the first class where all the goats have actually walked well, and that's a little tough to do. Sometimes they can be a little hard to get around the ring here, but all of you done a good job. Put a little more effort, looks like to me, at home than some of the other goats that have been here before, so that's good. Now, we're also getting to the age where we have some tall showmen, and we talked about this last night in sheep. It's oftentimes kind of hard when you're this tall and you're showing a goat that maybe makes your knees, okay? So we do a little more work down low, okay? We don't hunch so much, but we do more of our work to kind of get just a little lower. But it's one of those deals where it'll feel more comfortable someday. It just takes a little while to get used to it. It's kind of like a growth spurt, you have to kind of catch up with everything. But nice job, really a good job getting your goats broke as a general rule here in the class. These two young ladies will come back here for our final run here in the intermediate division. Let's give them a nice hand. They've done a great job.
Congratulations to our 13-year-old exhibitors, parents, and exhibitors. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's really hot. So we would like to keep the goats to the judge so we can keep moving here this evening. So please keep an eye on the show. We are moving right along. We are in our second class of intermediate showmen, Class 9. We have 6 entries: Bentley Gartland, Hope Rittinger, Reagan Feeser Favorite, Ridgely Turner, Hayden Schaefer, and Austin Cordone. That means I need the following exhibitors to the makeup area at this time: Elliot Weishauer, Tuck Stamball, Andrew Gannon, Brady Cromer, Emma Harrison, Bryce Dennis, and Aria Riddle. Please come to the makeup area at this time. Again, our alumni showmanship list is open. It's $20 to buy in. If you don't want to do it, it costs you $100 to buy out. We had 24 pig alumni showmen today. Can the goat exhibitors beat that number?
Welcome back to the Goat Show, and we are here with our champion senior showman, Kylie Medlin. Kylie, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And so for our audience, you need to know that Kylie is a really experienced showman. She's been Grand Champion Swine Showman, Reserve Grand Champion Sheep Showman, and here soon she'll be going in for Grand Champion Goat Showman. And so, Kylie, you show a lot of different species at a really high level. And so, what is your process like? Like, you have to work all these animals at home. What does your day-to-day look like?
So my day-to-day starts with morning feeding. I always try to feed as early as possible so that it's the coolest out. That way they eat the most. And then from there, I usually try to walk my pigs every day. I try to rinse them midday so that they can stay cooled off. And then I alternate days between my sheep and my goats. So say Monday, I'll work with my sheep, Tuesday goats, Wednesday sheep, etc.
How many miles do you think you put in a week walking animals?
On foot, probably at least 20, and driving, much more than that.
So you'll be going in for Grand Champion here soon. Any advice from the judge or anything that you need to tweak in order to bring it home?
He did tell me that my goat needs to be better off when he's moving. He needs to be a little bit more cooperative. But other than that, he seemed to only have good remarks, which I was really excited about.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I'm looking for intermediate fitting and showing exhibitors age 11. You need to be in the makeup area at this time.
Okay, the reason we're pulling you in line is we want to make sure we get our bookkeeping right, and I think everybody knows who most of you are, but we just want to make sure that we got things right on record. So, two young ladies, a very nice job, and there's a little give and take, and each every 30 seconds, one goat's doing better than the other. I don't know that either one of these goats have been perfect form, but I think the skills of the showmen are very good. You know, they kind of know where I'm at, they know where to be. They're working hard at it. We maybe just like to get a little more cooperation from the goat. So really the next four we talked about, as the judge walks down the front, be a little more prepared and kind of get off to the side. The placement of the showman, when we get them on the profile, I'd like to have them just a little further ahead of them instead of working off the side of your goat. But y'all done a good job. Actually, your goats are broke pretty good on the lead. We haven't had any real issues with them, so you've obviously done some work at home. So keep up the good work.
Congratulations to Class 9, age 12-year-old exhibitors. First went to Hayden Schaefer. Second to Reagan Feeser Favorite. Third to Turner Ridgely Turner. Fourth to Austin Cordone. Fifth to Hope Ridinger. Sixth to Bentley Gartland. Entering the ring at this time is Class 10. We have 7 exhibitors in this class: Elliot Weisshower, Tuck Stamball, Gannon Andrew, Brady Cromer, Emma Harrison, Bryce Dennis, and Aria Riddle. We need to be lining up our first and seconds in the intermediate division. Again, first and seconds in Class 9 and 10, you need to be in the makeup area.
Very nice. Coachable. I like that. You know, just a couple simple things here make just a huge difference in showmanship. We've said it so many times, and be prepared when the judge is coming around front. There's one thing they want to see. They want to see the front of your goat, and so we want to make sure. What's the saying I've been giving all of you? Nose and toes all pointing the same direction. Okay, and so get squared up with your goat, and that way the judge can see everything he needs to see. Partner, you are a good showman. You are ready for me every time I get my hands on him. Hopefully your goat walks better, okay? And you kind of got where you were the first one in, the first one around. So maybe he's one of those that needs a little bit of an audience around him, needs somebody in front of him. But nice job in the presentation, nice job to the handle when I get my hands on. This young lady here is working with a 1.5 arm, okay? So she's got to work a little harder. Nice job too. Again, she does the things right in terms of getting ready for me. The goat maybe doesn't give you quite the endurance and the push like we have here in this first one, but you've done a very, very nice job too. Much better job on the lead than his. So congratulations to all of you. We'll see some of you down the road here in the market class, but did a nice job out here in this age group. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Class 10 Intermediate Showman. At age 11, first was awarded to Elliot Weishauer, second to Emma Harrison, third to Brady Cromer, fourth to Aria Riddle, fifth to Bryce Dennis, sixth to Gannon Andrew, and seventh to Tuck Stamball. If you're reading down your program, 176, 3, 2, 5, and 4. In the ring at this time, we are going to select your champion intermediate and reserve champion intermediate showman. In the ring from division age 13, Kylie Kaler and Madison Myers. Your age 12 division, Hayden Schaefer and Reagan Fieser Favorite, and from our last class of 11-year-olds, Elliot Weishauer and Emma Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and congratulate all our intermediate showmen. I'd like to take this moment to introduce our judge, Scott Shockey. He currently resides in the Flint Hills of Kansas, where he is a full-time rancher of purebred Semitol cattle, and they have one heck of a sale here in the fall. He is retired from teaching at Kansas State University. He spent 32 years teaching and 22 of those years coaching livestock judging teams. He's married to Candy, who is a retired teacher. He has 2 sons, Shane and wife Melissa Grimmel, and Shiloh and his wife Jamie. They're very excited and expecting their first grandchild in a week from Shiloh and his wife Jamie. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Judge Shockey here to Carroll County, or I should say back to Carroll County. He was here about 30 years ago in our old building. Juniors, class 13, age 10. Again, juniors, we're looking for 5 of you in the makeup area. Violet Miller, Sydney Murfin, Isabella Hurst, Kinley Andrew, and Giovanna Battaglia. Please be in the makeup area at this time.
Really nice job. Proud of all 6 of you. We come back here in the final go-round, and I think our 3 class winners, the response from the GOAT, the way especially we put them on the lead has been just a little quicker, a little better, a little more efficient, I think, than our seconds. We're still having to wrestle a few of these or drag them up from the chips, and goats will just be goats, you know. We every year for the last few years, our boys were showing we would feed 1 or 2 goats. It was kind of a fun project, but we found out too, because we fed a lot of sheep, that they also think they can become sheep, okay? And the nice thing is goats are always smarter than sheep. They catch on a lot quicker. Now, the one thing we did talk about, and it's really hard, it's to get a goat to brace. You know, in this sheep deal, we've been working on that a long time with the genetics. In the goat deal, it's coming, and it's made rapid progress, but we still have to work a little harder at home to get these guys to brace up and to feel right. And so I told our 2 young ladies here up on top, that's kind of the difference. You know, you guys have done a great job in presentation, getting the goats ready for me to look at from the side. I just like to, when I get in to handle them, just be a little more ready for us. Young lady here that won the 2nd class, you're really good on the walk. I think, again, your body language, your posture, the way you relate to the goat out on the walk is really good. He probably doesn't respond as quickly when we get him stopped, but I like it when we get him on the walk. Young man, your goat was working good for you. I'm going to call you, you got a new name, Steady Eddie is your name, okay? You just, they're steady, you're quiet, you get the job done. Every time I've gone in to handle that goat, he handles really good. You get a nice push out of him. I'm just kind of wondering sometimes if you got a pulse. You got a smile? You got a smile? What if I told you you're going to win? You going to smile? Good deal. Let's go. Give him a 10. He's our champion. Nice job. Good job getting your goat ready. Young lady, you're going to be our reserve. Congratulations to you. Good job, gang.
Congratulations to Elliot Washauer. He was just named your champion intermediate showman, and Kylie Kaler was named reserve. We would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors of those awards, Taylorsville Veterinary Clinic and Cashman's Grandkids. Into the ring at this time, we have Class 13 Junior Fitting and Showing. This class will include Violet Miller, Sydney Murfin, Isabella Hurst, Kinley Andrew, and Giovanna Battaglia. If I just said your name and you're not at the gate, your class is ready to walk in. In the ring at this time, we have Class 13, which is our first class of juniors. These juniors are age 10. Our 9-year-olds need to be in the makeup area at this time. I'm looking for Madeline Dell, Cabry Turner, Jacob Green, Ava Boyle, and Boone Harrison, and Caroline Worley. Makeup area at this time.
All right, nice job. And really, ladies, your goats work pretty good for you. I mean, they get a little anxious out here when they're along the fence. There's a lot of activity going on, but they've done a pretty nice job walking for you. That's always a struggle, is to get goats to lead. And, you know, the other thing, too, I noticed some of you show with collars, some of you with halters. One of the risks we make, and y'all have halters, and I like that for younger people, but one of the risks is that when we show them with a collar, we have a bigger opportunity of choking them down, because these goats, they'll fight you. So I think with a halter, we have probably a little more success, and we want to make sure we get it to fit right to have that. So nice job. This young lady here is pretty serious. Okay? I did get a little bit of a smile out of her, but she's a pretty serious showman. Been the quickest to get that thing put together, and certainly eye contact is really good. That's what we talked about. You know, the first thing we said when you walk through the gate, make sure to make eye contact with the person that's judging out here. Past that, you've done a very, very nice job. So we just kind of need to get goats to behave a little better out here for the next 3 showmen. I like some things that they've done, but the biggest thing is to kind of get the goats to set up a little quicker for these young people. Very good job. Let's give them a nice hand, and we'll see you 2 here in a minute, okay? Congratulations.
Congratulations to your 10-year-old exhibitors. First was awarded to Violet Miller. Second to Sydney Murfin, third to Kinley Andrew, fourth to Isabella Hurst, and fifth to Giovanna Battaglia. Reading down the program, 1, 2, 4, 3, and 5. At this time, we're ready for our 9-year-old class. This class includes Madeline Dell, Cabry Turner, Jacob Green, Ava Boyle, Boone Harrison, and Caroline Worley. They are in the ring at this time, which means we need our last class of junior showmen to be in the makeup area. We're looking for Wyatt Rashi, Brooks
And we're here with our intermediate champion showman, Elliot Weishauer. Elliot, congratulations. You got to feel great about winning your division.
Thank you.
So we were all laughing on the sideline when he called you Steady Eddie. So you must practice a lot. You must work really hard with your goats to just be able to be steady.
Well, yeah, I practiced on the stand still and do a lot of like standing routines and walking routines. Now, my goat wasn't really happy about the walking routine because he wasn't with his friends. So that's why he wasn't really cooperating.
So one of the things we were talking about was how hot it's been here at the fair and how that's been a challenge for showmen. Has that been a challenge for you and your animals?
I've been sweating pretty much all week, so.
Well, you looked like you were sweating a little bit out there until the judge asked you to smile. Has any judge asked you to smile before?
No.
But that was a pretty important smile. I guess it won
Yeah.
you the contest, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, Elliot, congratulations. I know you need to go get ready for the Grand Champion Drive, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Miss Becky is taking nominations for alumni showmanship. We only have 4 names on the list. That is just sad, folks. Just sad. I had 24 people sign up for swine today. So if you have someone that needs to be out there showing a goat, let's get their names on the list. We're very fortunate here for our livestock shows that we have Kelsey Zepp taking pictures. She's been uploading them as quickly as the shows end. You can find these fair photos at kazphotography.smugmug.com.
Okay, we're having heats, and you 4 are going to come back again. Okay, I think all 4 of you have done a very nice job out here. I thought you did a very, very good job. You're a little quicker to get things done, and then I really couldn't make a decision on the next three right now. I think there was moments where I thought any of the three could be second, and so I thought the only fair thing to do is to have y'all come back out and we'll try it again. So nice job, good job in getting your goat presented. Knowing where I was at, we walked down the front. That's kind of the biggest thing right now, that several of you just need to be a little more aware the judge is coming and get ready for it, okay? So probably the next three, what happened, we had particularly the red goat and then the little goat here in fourth. They just weren't quite as cooperative the longer we were out here, but I like the showmen. They're in front of them, okay? The two young men, just keep up the good work. Work on some little things we talked about, getting prepared for the judge to come in and handle your goat. But I think as a general rule, you guys have done an exceptionally good job. This is a very strong class for this age division. Give them all a nice hand, and we'll have you four ladies back here in a minute, okay?
Important news here from the age 9 division. First place went to Caroline Worley, second to Cabry Turner, third to Ava Boyle, fourth to Madeline Dell, and fifth to Boone Harrison, and sixth to Jacob Green. The judge has requested for our champion drive that Caroline, Cabry, Ava, and Madeline all return for the champion drive. It is our last class of junior showmen. We have 8-year-olds in the ring. That means that these exhibitors have never showed at the Carroll County Fair Goat Show before. This is the first time for them in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a hand. We have Wyatt Rashi, Brooks Turner, Reed Stamball, Quinn Fogel, Elizabeth Worley, Rhett Bauman, Oakley Giles, and Jameson Wagner.
Oh, I'm amazed. This is their first year, how good these kids are. You know, there's probably maybe older siblings or mentors that have been helping them, parents, grandparents, whatever it might be. But this group's pretty astute. They kind of know what's going on. And we got just a little congested here when we stopped on the profile. But again, I want to compliment you as a group for doing a very, very fine job, especially a couple of these young ladies up here on the top end. You're just a little quicker to get things accomplished out here, and that's pretty important at this stage of your development of showmanship. Let's give them all a good hand. I bet these kids will sleep good tonight. Congratulations, and we'll see you two here in a second for a championship.
And results of Class 15 is as follows. Congratulations, Jamison Wagner, first. Quinn Fogel, second. Elizabeth Worley, third. Fourth went to Reed Stamball. Fifth went to Oakley Giles. Sixth went to Rhett Bauman. Seventh went to Brooks Turner. Eighth went to Wyatt Rashi. Reading down your program, 874, 236, 5, and 1. We are ready for our junior champion and reserve champion selection. Entering the ring, we have the following exhibitors. From class 13, we have Violet Miller and Sydney Murfin. From class 14, we have 4 exhibitors. Caroline Worley, Cabry Turner, Ava Boyle, and Madeline Dell. And from our last class is Jamison Wagner and Quinn Fogel. These awards are sponsored by Lowe's Purple Vision Show Feed and Bounds Accounting and Tax Services. We do need Kylie Medlin, Alyssa Costa, Elliot Weishauer, and Kylie Kaler to please report to ringside. We will be selecting Grand Champion Showmen shortly. Again, Kylie, Alyssa, Elliot, and Kylie Kaler, please report to ringside.
All right, y'all can relax. It's too hot, and we don't want to stress the animals, and we dang sure want to stress the kids. Okay, Mom and Dad's under enough stress out here, and Grandma and Grandpa, that we don't need to get any further than that. Just a really good group of juniors. It's been fun to work through them. The intensity that we have out here amongst these 8, I think, is incredible. You know, that last class, those are beginners, and that little gal that wins that class, really good and very attentive to me, and you know, does a pretty good job. The goats maybe kind of lost her interest out here, but that showman, I thought, for her first year in 4-H and doing this, has done a very, very nice job, and same with her classmate out here. It kind of boiled down to the first 2, and to be honest, young lady here has got the red doe. You've done a great job out here in this final lineup, so it kind of come down to a little bit of a 3-person race for me as to, you know, which one of these would be the, you know, be crowned the champion. And I think you all do a very nice job in getting these goats to walk. That goat's done a lot better out here the second go around than it did in class. I thought the young lady that stands in or wins that second class, again, just a little quicker and been a little bit more efficient with that goat. They're all getting kind of tired and fighting you a little bit, but I thought that one probably had just a little bit more endurance into it than the others. And I like your style. I think you got a lot of presence out here. You bring a very professional image, I think, in your ability to show goats. So let's give them all a nice hand. Our young lady from class 2 will be our champion. Give her a big hand, and then we're going to go back to the most serious showman. She's still frowning at me. Class 1 is going to be our reserve champion. Let's give them both a very nice hand. Done an excellent job.
Congratulations, your champion went to Caroline Worley, and your reserve to Violet Miller. We are now ready to select your grand champion fitting and showing meat goat. That Grand Champion Award is sponsored by North Carroll Veterinarian Services, Dr. K. Wagner, and Kitchens by QBI. Your reserve Grand Champion fitting and showing was donated by Mr. Jerry and Miss Pat Brunst. In the makeup area, we're looking for Kylie Medlin, Alyssa Costa, Elliot Weisschauer, Kylie Kaler, Carolyn Worley, and Violet Miller. Introducing your champion drive is as follows. Your champion senior showman, Kylie Medlin. Your reserve champion senior showman, Alyssa Costa. Your champion intermediate showman, Elliot Weisschauer. Your reserve champion intermediate showman, Kylie Kaler. Your champion junior showman, Caroline Worley. And your reserve champion junior showman, Violet Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our champion showman here this evening. We do need Estella and David Guyman to start making their way to the makeup area so we can proceed with our Champions of Challenge. It's going to take a minute here while our judge sorts through his decisions. So I'm going to let you know that at the conclusion of our champion selections, we are going to be taking the 18-year-old last year's showman picture at the backdrop before we start the market show. Again, if you're one of our 4 18-year-olds at the end of the showmanship classes, we will take your picture at the backdrop.
I was telling a young man what we do in showmanship. We take what we got and we try to make it look as good as we can out here. And you know, one of the beauties of the goats and the sheep is we can do a little bit more with our thigh or knee. We can kind of make things balance out a little bit better just by the way that we present them. And there'll be shows too you'll go to, and the judge will ask you to get back out. And we did it in the sheep show last night to kind of see that silhouette. But when you have the ability to do that, do it, okay? Because that's what the 2 seniors have done out here. You know, if we have a lineup and all 3 of you goats are equal in quality, and then we can take what the seniors are doing and they're wrapping themselves around it just a little bit more, just enough to make that neck skinny, that chest a little nicer. Again, that kind of gives them the edge out here. So, Eddie, you've done a good job. But we can work a little bit about working around front. Our junior, really good too. She's kind of, I mean, the doe's getting a little hot and tired, and she's getting a little lazy-headed on you. So I think another thing we want to do is give her some endurance standing there, but maybe work her head up just a little bit more directly up out of her shoulder instead of being U-neck. But I think for your age, you've done just an incredibly good job. Too tough, though, to get around our 2 seniors. I think the presentation part has been spot on. Let's give them a nice hand. These 2 young ladies will represent the overall champions. Congratulations.
So I've been waiting all fair to say this. Your grand champion showman is Miss Kylie Medlin. And your reserve grand champion is Miss Alyssa Costa. You 2 need to pull it together because we got to do Champions a Challenge. Get your goats over here. That was a super impressive grand champion drive. All right, Kylie, did you take a big breath? All right, here we go. This is called our Champions of Challenge. We are incredibly fortunate here in Carroll County to have an exceptional group of showmen. And it happens that once our showmen win overall grand champion, they can't compete anymore in their age division. So the Champions of Challenge was invented to provide an opportunity for these tremendous showmen to come back and compete again this year. So in the ring at this time, we have this year's grand champion showman, Kylie Medlin. We have Estella Gover and David Guyman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for these three incredible showmen. For those of you who are visiting the fair, if you ask yourself, what is so important about 4-H Livestock FFA? It's the fact that these kids are fierce competitors in the ring and make lifelong lasting friendships out of the ring. Sean Franklin, if you are on grounds, can you please go to the fair office? There is something important there you will be looking for. Sean Franklin, you need to go to the fair office. There is something there important you need.
All right, just relax. It's hot. He's done. We need to take him back and get him under a fan and let him cool down. Sorry, we've had him and her out here a lot and a long time. And so at any rate, really a nice job. You know, this goat, for as many times he's been out here, he's sticking with you. He's not giving us near the push that he did early on, but I understand that. I told the young lady here in the middle, that goat, when we get him stopped, propped up, you're good, spot on. He's a bit of a happy goat. When we put him on the walk, he wants to jump and leap, and looks like he's having a good time out here frolicking around. So maybe on the walk, maybe didn't respond quite like we would like to. Young man here with this little red doe, good job. I think you and our young lady up front here, the presentation part is really good. I like it when we wrap our leg just a little bit around the front. You do that. Actually, that doe gives us a really good handle. The only little thing we talked about when we shifted you guys around is I think it would have been better to pull up like you did and then spin out around this way instead of making the old, I ain't got much room turn to go that way. So, and I think you understand that. But really, I think for the most part, and it's a little unfair because we've been working that one so long, but I thought you probably have had the best result. Now, she didn't lead early on. She's kind of like him. They're a follower. They're not leaders. It's hard to find a goat that will be in charge and be able to put up front. And so that was the other part of the reason why I switched you guys around, just to see how she does when we get her on the walk. She's rebounded very nicely. Let's give him a nice hand. He's going to be our champion. The champion tonight. Congratulations to him, and best of luck to all three of you.
Champions of Champions was won by David Guyman, and that award was sponsored by the Farmer's Wife Design. 18-year-olds, please head to the backdrop at this time. 18-year-olds, we're going to take a picture at the backdrop at this time. Looking for Andrew Natz, Colleen Haynes, Wyatt Snyder, Gannon Hackler. Backdrop photos, please. We're going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to take 5 minutes, and then we're going to start our market goat class with class 2A. In the ring at this time, we're going to start our market show. We have 4 goats in this lightweight Class 2A. Into the ring, we have Gannon Andrew, Reagan Fieser Favorite, Tuck Stamball, and Hayden Schaefer. These goats are weighing 65 to 67 pounds.
And so we've concluded our showmanship show, but we had one more interview we wanted to do with one of our 18-year-old 4-H'ers. And so we welcome Andrew Natz. Andrew, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us.
Yep, thank you for interviewing me.
And so you were just a part of the 18-year-old showman. So this is your last year at the fair. So tell us a little bit about your 4-H career. What are some of the projects you've carried and some of the things you enjoy doing?
So I've always shown pigs here at the Carroll County Fair. I've shown pigs at the national level and state level. I also farm and do ag commodities up at the Red Building.
And so you decided this year to show goats when you've never shown goats before. So why in the world would you do that? And tell us a little bit about what this year has been like with your goat project.
So I've been saying I wanted to show goats for like the past 5 years now, but I figured I'd wait till my last year to actually show goats. But it was a good experience. I thought they were crazy at first because it's not like a pig, it's totally different. I started working with them a couple weeks ago and I've started to like it now. They're completely different and they're a little goofy, but I like them.
So why did you decide to wait till your last year to show them, even though you've wanted to do this for a while?
I don't know, I just feel like doing something different. Everybody asked me if I'm ever going to show some different species. So I just settled on goats because I figured they'd be easy, but people may think it is easy, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult to set them up to brace. And they can be stubborn when you walk them a lot.
Well, it seemed like you were successful. You were in the senior drive for champion, yes? You at least made it that far. So
yeah, I was surprised myself that I made it that far.
Well, it certainly seemed like a really good start to the show for you. So congratulations on your 4-H career, on everything you've accomplished, and on your goat project. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Figure out how to brace, and he'll be a nice one to get his hands on. He's good pelted. He's got a nice crease in his top. I like the hip design on him. He happens to be the heaviest bone wether in the group. He looks the best out here on the go, and we get him stopped and propped up. He sure gives us a nice look in terms of design out here. So a really good way to get us going here in our lightweight division. The pair that we kind of decided on here for second, it's a give and take deal. There's just more dimension to the wether here in second. You get up front, the chest floor on him, he's wider in his pin set. I think just in general, he's just cracked open a little bit wider with a little more total product when it's all said and done than what we might hear here in third. If I was to fix him some, it'd probably be on the move. He's just a little awkward in his hind leg. He gets it kind of up underneath him and doesn't handle his hip and maybe tail set quite as nicely. But I think in terms of dimension and muscle and potential product down the road, he has that advantage. Structure-wise, length is really good on this wether here in third, and he does look more appealing from the side in the set of his hock and his hind leg than the wether we just discussed. He just becomes a little narrow when we get up front. We get him behind both him and the wether that ends up here in fourth. We just need to put a little more natural width of body to him. And I think the wether in fourth, his framework is good. He's tall-fronted. He's smooth. Along with being need to be a little wider, we probably want to give him just a nickel bit more bone to kind of make him look stouter if we could. Good job, partner.
Results of Class 2A, first to Hayden Schaefer, second to Reagan Fieser Favorite, third to Gannon Andrew, fourth to Tuck Stamball. Attention in the barn, attention in the barn. Easton Smith, report to your beef area. Easton Smith, report to the your beef area. Class 2B is in the ring. We have 6 exhibitors in this ring. Goats are weighing 68 to 69 pounds. Again, 6 exhibitors with goats weighing 68 to 69 pounds.
I think the decision was you keep the two reds together, whether you like them first or second or third and fourth. We can't, I don't think, in my opinion, split them up with the two that we have here in third and fourth. So we're going to give up a little of that stoutness. I don't know that there's one in here that's just really, big and creased up in its back and big boned and really has that real terminal look to them. So I don't think the difference in muscle is maybe as big as the difference in design and pattern of these top four. And you get your hands on them, it's a lot easier to like this one here. This doe, she's got a nice touch, nice hide. She really handles good in terms of firmness, and obviously to make her a big time market creature, she needs more bone. She probably needs a little more pin width to her, but she does balance up very nice and just got such a good touch, and there's a reason, because she braces so good. So that all helps. Young lady, you got one that I think is an awful lot like this one in terms of her look from the side. She's really nice in her neck, into the floor of her shoulder, and certainly her body length is good. I like the way she's hooked up coming out of the top of her shoulder and down her top, and her feet and legs are a little bit better than the two redheads we have here in third and fourth. Just that the touch is just not quite the extreme touch like we have in the doe that's going to beat you. I don't know that there's any more muscle difference, to be quite honest. I think it's just a matter of how they handle is what kind of makes that difference. Now, if you want to go with ones that have maybe just a little more chest and width and probably dimension from a thickness standpoint, then we'd probably run the two redheads up in first and second. And I wouldn't core them with you. I mean, I can see that. For me, they just a little bit put together by a committee. They don't balance out right. Maybe behind their shoulder, just a little weak and a little steeper hip. Both as they stand and as they walk, they just don't come together quite as nicely on the profile. So it was back and forth, and I just don't think there's enough extra power in those two to go ahead and beat the two reds. So another really long body one here in this next red weather that's got some framework to them, and really the two that complete the class, the difference is they kind of have a little bit of the issue with some structure things we talked about in third and fourth, and just simply not as muscular. So we want to give them both the weather and then the doe here on the end just a bit more power to be more competitive in this class. So a good class, a challenging class. It wasn't easy to put together, but we kept the two that have just a little more look and design together up on the top end.
Congratulations to all of our Class 2B exhibitors. First went to David Guyman, second to Violet Miller, third to Alyssa Costa, fourth to Bentley Gartland, fifth to Rhett Bauman, sixth to Bentley Gartland. In the ring at this time, we have Class 2C lightweight goats. We have 4 exhibitors in this class, including Aria Riddle, Hope Ridinger, Rihanna Granger, and Kylie Kaler. These goats are weighing 70 pounds. Again, 4 goats, 70 pounds. At this time, Hannah Haynes is taking your nominations for the sale. Again, at this time, Hannah Haynes, sitting next to me, is taking nominations for the meat goat you want to sell. You must show your goat first before you nominate. When you come to nominate, you will have 30 minutes after the market goat show to nominate your market goat. It is strongly suggested to nominate your market goat after the last class you show in. You must provide the committee member with your market goat's 4-H tag. You may only nominate 1 market goat for sale. This year, we are very excited to announce a scholarship market goat opportunity. Sheepman Supply is very generously offering $800 scholarship market goat this year. Exhibitors may enter their name to be selected for the scholarship goat. If their goat is nominated for the livestock sale, 1 winner will be drawn 30 minutes after the conclusion of the market goat show. You do not need to be present to win. This is a great opportunity for an exhibitor who may not have a buyer. How it works: once your market goat is nominated, you will be asked if you would like to enter your goat for the scholarship goat drawing. You may decline or accept. If you accept, you will write your name and will go in for the drawing.
You know, in this set of 4, there's just not a lot of difference in muscle. Perhaps, you know, if you made me make a commitment, I might say that wether in 3rd might be the widest pin, maybe the most width, and maybe the doe that wins ends up in 4th is maybe the narrowest. But it's again, it's kind of a maybe thing, is what I would say. So I'm just going to quite honestly say muscle's a wash. I don't think it's really anything I'm going to get too worried about in sorting this class. We're going to try to do it from the side. And that's where this wether here wins. You know, he's a big, extended goat, nice fronted, tall fronted, long neck, slender neck that sits in his shoulder good. He maintains a nice top line on him, both as he stands and travels out here in the ring. You know, to make him a big time goat, he needs more bone, he needs more muscle to get that real terminal look, I think. But I like the pattern in him, and if we're going to say there's just not enough difference in muscle to make a call, then let's use the one that's got the best look. And then second is the second best look goat for me. Again, not quite as good out of his blade like we have here, and the way he sends his neck up out of his shoulder, but I thought out here from the side he balances up really good. We kind of commented here, like I said, this roan goat in 3rd, I like his pin width. I like him from behind. You know, he brings just a little more forearm and shoulder, which is a good indication he's got some muscle. He's just a little loose made right in behind his top and his shoulder. His neck doesn't set quite as nicely into it. We get him on the go. He just doesn't look quite as athletic out here as the 2 ahead of you. But if you want to say, let's use the heaviest muscle one, then that might be the one we would have to use in this class. The little red doe, really nice from the side. She patterns up good. She's got a little extra condition on her, so it makes her look really smooth. I really like the levelness at top that she has. I did feel that maybe she was the lightest muscled and probably within this set the finest bone, so she doesn't give you that real strong terminal look that we might want in a market show. But I think in a breeding show, if I was to look at her, I'd say she's really got a lot of value from that standpoint. So that's an interesting class. Once again, I would say there's no right or wrong way of sorting them, but we're going to do like we did the last class, try to keep those up on the top end that we like just to look a little bit better from the side profile.
Congratulations to our exhibitors in Class 2C. First was awarded to Rihanna Granger. Second, Kylie Kaler. Third, Aria Riddle. And fourth, Hope Ridinger. In the ring at this time, we have Class 2D lightweight meat goats. There are 7 entries in this class. Again, 7 entries, including Estella Gover, Alyssa Costa, Quinn Fogel, Colleen Haynes, Rhett Bauman, Cabri Turner, Elena Enoff. These goats are weighing 73 to 75 pounds. Again, nominations for the sale is open. Exhibitors, talk to your parents about the scholarship goat opportunity. You receive a guaranteed $800 donated by Sheepman Supply. You come to the sale and anything your goat makes that evening goes into the scholarship fund. $800 guaranteed, donated by Sheepman Supply. We're going to be ready to select our lightweight champion in reserve following this class, so all first and seconds need to be ringside. We're looking for Hayden Schaefer, Reagan Fieser Favorite, David Guyman, Violet Miller, Rihanna Granger, and Kylie Kaler to be in the makeup area. The nomination form for the alumni showmanship is a little weak. I gotta be honest with you. I think we need to add a few names. Currently, alumni showmanship for goats is as follows: Crystal Stowers, Hannah Haynes, James Garvick, Sophie Battaglia, Hannah Staub, Noah Guyman. Come on, guys. We had 25 for the pig show today. Additionally, Bedtime Stories is taking place in the tent outside the Shipley Arena at 7:30. Come read some bedtime stories to Barnyard Friends. There are plenty of free giveaways.
Well, certainly the best class in this first division here. We've got really 4 or 5 of these goats here on the top end that I think are really class winners in the last group of classes that we've looked at. So these kind of all fell into one little pod here to sort through, and there's nice differences. Probably when they took about 5 steps in the ring, I kind of had in my mind that this is the goat that I search for. His build and design is really nice. He's a little heavier structured than some others that we have here in the lineup. He gives you a nice handle when we get on him. He's got a pretty good touch to him. I like the way that goat balances out too as I compare him to the next two. He's just hooked up so much nicer out of the top of his shoulder. The way he handles his top line, both standing and traveling out here, just a little bit better in that regard. So obviously he puts a lot of really nice things together. And I don't know that there's one like him when we get past him, but I think there's 4 really nice ones that really contend for second here in the group. Obviously the second one, he's not the easiest goat to get shown, kind of jumping around out here like a grasshopper, but I think as you study his natural body shape and width, he's really good and round in his rib. I like the rack in that guy. You know, if we could get a bit of a push out of him, I think we'd appreciate the kind of loin he has in him. He's got a nice height to him, just a little small in kind, a little finer boned, and obviously just to kind of get him head working right. It's a little tough to do sometimes. He'd look a lot better on the go. The goat we have in third, and I can sure strongly consider him in the second slot because he's bigger, more extended. He's probably a lot nicer in terms of length of neck. He's probably being shown a little too full today, okay? And I think it affects his top a bit. He's got a little bit of an issue behind his shoulder anyway, and then he kind of dips and doesn't hook up quite as strong, and then maybe kind of being as full as he is up high like that, I think has kind of affected the middle part of his back, and as a result, he doesn't balance out quite as nicely. But I really toyed with that pair as to which one I wanted to run second. Do we use one that's a little hooked up a little better, a little stouter and wider, or do we use one that's bigger and probably a nickel leaner and longer in third? So we'll keep them like this and try to keep them together in terms of balance. The red weather, a nice one as well. I think one thing, sweetheart, and we talked a little bit about showmanship, don't let him get too stretched out, okay? He looks really good on the move, and if we let him get too stretched out, he kind of falls apart down his top. Dimensionally, that goat's got some natural width to him. I think he's pretty good, and if we could get him to brace a little bit, he'd handle really good. So there's some things I think we can kind of show out of him or make sure it doesn't happen when we're showing. I think he's a very nice goat. Like I've already said, there's been several classes he could have been our class winner. Even the doe that comes next, pretty nice. She doesn't have the hip width, just a natural body width to her, and muscle, I don't think, of those that are ahead of them. But I think a very nice doe that is sure a real contender up here for our second slot. We get another weather that's just a little green yet, beautiful in his neck, his shoulders laid in good. We just want to stouten that rascal up a bit more if we could. We got a nice height on them. There's some fun pieces to work with, just not there. And then the doe we conclude with a deep-bodied, long doe, maybe just needs a little more of that show ring appearance with some stoutness in the market show to kind of get her up here off the bottom of the class.
Congratulations to Class 2D, first to Estella Gover, second to Alyssa Costa, third to Colleen Haynes, fourth to Quinn Fogel, fifth to Cabry Turner, sixth to Elena Enoff, seventh to Rhett Bauman. Reading down your program, 1, 2, 4, 3, 7, 5, 6. Into the ring at this time, we're going to select our champion and reserve champion lightweight goat. From Class A, we had Hayden Schaefer and Reagan Fieser favorite. These goats weighed 65 and 67 pounds. Lightweight B division is represented by David Guyman with a goat weighing 68 pounds, and Violet Miller with her goat weighing 69 pounds. Rihanna Granger won Class C with a goat weighing 70 pounds, along with Kylie Kaler, and her goat weighed 70 pounds. Estella Gover is representing Class D with a 73-pound goat, and Alyssa Costa stands second. Her goat also weighs 73 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. This is our lightweight goat drive. Your Champion Lightweight Goat Award is sponsored by Mr. Andy and Miss Joanne Cashman and Bounds Counting and Tax Services and the Farmer's Wife. Your Reserve Champion Award is sponsored by Cal Razy Cleaning, Miss Cindy Speaks, and Bounds Accounting and Tax Services. At this time, I need medium weight Class 5A exhibitors. Quinn Fogel, Bentley Gartland, Brooks Turner, Ava Boyle, and Jaden Fieser favorite to the makeup area. Additionally, if you were showing in Class 5B medium weights, also make your way to the makeup area. 5A and B to the makeup area.
Well, congratulations to the 8 of you for making it here in our final drive in this lightweight division. For me personally, it really kind of comes down to 3. I thought the last two class winners that they have a huge advantage in just some weight. More of a terminal look, if you will, because there's just a little bit more muscle and power, certainly more bone here in our class winner, and so all that kind of gives them more of a market look, if you will, than maybe some of the other class winners. And then the other one that I think is contenders are lightweight, our first class winner out here. I like his design. I like the image he gives us from the side. He balances out very nicely. He has what I would say enough muscle at this weight. He's not overwhelming, but he's got enough. So he's a very good goat, and I think he sure kind of makes it a little more interesting out here as to which one needs to be selected for reserve. So I think our champion, again, for me, is a pretty self-explanatory. That'll be our class winner out of our last class, our heavyweight. And then we're going to go ahead and stick with some terminal and some more dimension and use his classmate here for reserve, our second place weather out of there. So congratulations, a nice start here in our market show.
Your lightweight champion was awarded to Estella Gover. Your lightweight reserve champion went to Alyssa Costa. We are ready for our medium weight division. Entering the ring, we have 5 entries, including Quinn Fogel, Bentley Gartland, Brooks Turner, Ava Boyle, and Jaden Feezer Favorite. I am looking for Class 5B medium weight goats, Gwen Boyle, Turner Ridgely, Brady Cromer, Grayson Cromer, Josie Wilhide, Hope Ridinger, and Elizabeth Worley to report to ringside. This is the first call for Class 5C medium weight to ringside. Goats in Class 5A are weighing 76 and 77 pounds.
So we had a hunch we might talk to Kylie again, and in fact, that is what has happened. Kylie Medlin is our grand champion showman. Kylie, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been one of my biggest dreams for the past 4 years, ever since I started showing goats.
One of the neat things about talking to senior 4-Hers is that you've done some things and you've accomplished some things. And so I wonder just a little bit of perspective. You know, you've won other showmanship competitions, but I wonder what this one means to you.
So when I first started showing, I got into the lambs first because one of my mom's friends had an extra lamb, and then they needed an extra pig for a pen mate. So I was kind of thrown into them. I do still love to show those species, but the goats were the one that I really wanted to show for me. That was the species that I think I gravitated to the most.
And what makes showing goats like special to you?
So I think goats is special to me because it's so much different than the pigs and the lambs. A lot of people think that lambs and goats are very similar, but it's a completely different ball game.
Say a little bit more about that. What makes it? What's one or two things that makes it different?
So goats they're escape artists, and they're very, very hard-headed. So it takes a lot of work, and almost, I'll say that it takes a special connection with your goat to be able to pull off.
I have often heard it said that if water can get through a fence, so can a goat, and so that seems to be accurate.
Absolutely.
Well, you've come a long way. You were wonderful out there. Congratulations and good luck with the market show.
Thank you.
Get your hands on him, though. This is where the weather's going to win it for me. He's got a better touch to him. He braces up nice and got some firmness to his top. You know, I think there's enough product in him, and I think the thing that we would like to do to make him an easier winner is to probably build him differently off his hind leg as he goes and just see him be a little more attractive on the travel if we could. But I think the composition, the potential advantage in just total product and muscle gives him enough an advantage to go ahead and win this class. The red hip weather, I like his length of body. I like some things about him design-wise that we don't find in our class winner. I think he sets a little nicer in his pin bones, his tail from the side. Obviously one that runs uphill, he's tall-fronted. I think there's some real advantages there. We get our hands on him and really the next group, there's just really no difference in muscle. They're just a little plainer top, a little narrower in the way they're constructed. So if we had one of those 4 that just had a lot more shape to them, then I think we could do some things a little easier here in the lineup. So with that being said, with really no difference in muscle, we just tried to keep some pattern and design together. And I thought this goat that we have here in third is a little trimmer in his middle. His length of body's good. He's a little nicer in the way he transitions his neck into his shoulder. Probably a little bit trimmer than the doe is right now. So a little like our class winner, though, I would like to have him a little more correct off his hind leg. He kind of throws him every which direction when he goes and maybe doesn't look quite as appealing on the walk as the weather we have right here ahead of him. The doe's nice bodied. She's got some width to her, maybe just a little softer when we get our hands on her, and again, probably a little heavier middle. It's kind of like the one that we complete the class with. Her body length is really good. She's just a little flatter rib and maybe a little too deep in the middle part of her rib cage to kind of strike you with a real attractive look. So we like to just clean her up, tidy her up a little bit in the lower third of her body.
Results of Class 5A Medium weight goats first went to Jaden Feezer, favorite. Second to Ava Boyle. Third to Brooks Turner. Fourth to Quinn Fogel. Fifth to Bentley Gartland. Reading down your program, 4, 5, 3, 2, and 1. It's pretty hot in here this evening, and I was very lucky to have Tubby's bring Mike and I a nice iced coffee to get me through the evening. They have some nice cinnamon buns over there and ice cream. There's lemonade out at the Foster stand. So ladies and gentlemen, go get yourself something a little cool and sweet to help the evening go by. In this class, we have the following participants: Gwen Boyle, Ridgely Turner, Brady Cromer, Grayson Cromer, Josie Wilhide, Hope Ridinger, and Elizabeth Worley. Goats in this class are weighing 78 and 79 pounds. If you have goats in Class 5C, Reagan Feezer favorite, Austin Cordone, Bryce Dennis, Madison Myers, Kylie Kaler, Addison Wagner, Reed Stamball, and Colleen Haynes, you need to be at the makeup area at this time. Additionally, if you have goats in Class 5D, you can start making your way to the makeup area. Parents of exhibitors, we have an Ariat girls belt with a very pretty silver belt buckle on it here at the announcer's stand. Miss Kelly's Lost and Found is open. If your child is missing their belt, please come and get it here.
All right. You know, these two does really, they complement one another just from a muscle standpoint, maybe comparing them to the others in the class, and yet they still have some balance to them. And that's especially true where the redneck doe has the edge. She runs uphill better, she's longer neck, she hooks up a little nicer behind her shoulder. She's a nickel trimmer today, and just got a nice touch to her. You know, she she braces up really nice and has a good handle when we get our hands on them. I think the natural body width and muscle shape really belongs to the black-headed doe that wins up here in second. I like that about her. She's maybe just a little rounder and doesn't make maybe transition as nicely from her neck to her shoulder to her top line like the doe that we have winning the class. But I think that is a close placing. They're both pretty nice sheep. There's just a little more design and pattern up here on the top end. I will say, young lady, your goat has a really strong tail. You pull on that quite a bit and it doesn't seem to bother. So you might try just a little thing as you're walking that goat, instead of grabbing her tail, just see if she'll lead without. Okay, I think she'll look better if you would do that. So the weather here in third, not maybe just the best looking rascal in the lineup, but he's got some production to him. He's got some product and muscle, his pin width, his natural body width. There's just more goat there, I think, just from that standpoint. You know, obviously to beat the two does, we need to balance him up a little better, hook him up in his general lines a little nicer, and take a little of the middle out of him to give him that extra nice look from the side. But I thought muscle-wise, he sure belongs up here on the top trio. The red doe, just a little bigger topped than what we have in the white doe. They're very similar in kind. They're long-bodied, they're smooth-made, really designed. Structure's pretty good on both of them. I just thought there's just a little bit more natural width up high on the red belt versus the white one. We need to put a little more muscle in this next big wether. I like his body length. He's got some length of neck and shoulder to him, but unfortunately we get our hands on him. He's just a little too sharp down his top. The next doe that we have completing the class, just need to clean her up a little bit. She's a little waisty down through her middle, kind of like the wether ahead of you. We need to give her just a bit more muscle, but body length is good. Been pretty smooth in terms of her transition from her neck into her shoulder. We just need to give her a bit more power.
Congratulations to our exhibitors in Class 5B medium weight meat goats. First to Gwen Boyle, second to Elizabeth Worley, third to Ridgely Turner, fourth to Grayson Cromer, fifth to Brady Cromer, sixth to Josie Wilhide, and seventh to Hope Ridinger. We're now ready for Class 5C. We have 8 goats in this class. Exhibitors include Reagan Feeser Favorite, Austin Cordone, Bryce Dennis, Madison Myers, Kylie Kaler, Addison Wagner, Reed Stamball, and Colleen Haynes. Goats in this class weigh 80 to 81 pounds. Hannah, sitting next to me, is taking nominations for the sale. If you are done showing your goat, come and get it nominated for the sale. If you would like to submit your goat to the scholarship goat option, you are guaranteed $800. Any money your goat makes the night of the sale then goes to the scholarship fund. This would not be possible if weren't for the very supportive Sheepman Supply. Looking for medium weight goats in Class 5D, Emma Harrison, Alyssa Costa, Jenna Stamball, Kylie Medlin, Gannon Hackler, and Jaden Feeser Favorite. Also, bedtime stories with farm animals is now happening in the tent in front of the arena. There will be prizes for the youth that participate. Go read a bedtime story to your farm animal.
All right, certainly the first one we've seen today that, the minute he comes to the gate, pretty easy to identify in terms of the market characteristics that he has. Excellent rib cage, he's round, he supports a really nice touch when you get up in his top. He's blessed with a good hide. He's really the stoutest one we've seen so far that's got the right kind of shape. And if we was to just make him even bigger time, better yet, we'd probably lengthen his hip out, just make him a little bit more athletic off his hind leg, but a really nice weather here to get us started. For second, there becomes just some different things to do out here. The doe, to me, in terms of her rib cage, her muscle shape, her natural width of body, is most like the wether that's going to win the class. A little like him, too. She's a little shorter featured in her hip. Probably the biggest thing that kind of runs that doe into trouble is her front third of her body. She's just a little lower shouldered, doesn't hook up quite as nicely right in behind it. We'd like to strengthen her up just a little bit in her top. But if we try to keep somewhat of the likes together from this angle, from behind, or up front, however you want to study them, those two that are in first and second are the most alike. The next two that are third and fourth are an awful lot alike. They're big, long-bodied wethers that still have some gas in their tank. I thought there was just a little more rib cage, and I thought just a little stouter featured look to the wether here in third than what we have here in fourth. They're very much alike, though, just in terms of length. They're kind of the same in terms of their neck and shoulder. I thought there was just a little bit more of a stouter featured look to what we have in third. So the next one here, kind of the same deal. He's just one that's just a little frailer made, a little flatter body. He tend to be a little deeper in his midsection and into his shoulder. Hip design maybe not quite as nicely. The one that we have following here next, kind of the same deal. He just gets a little frail. We work back into him, in his thigh and his pins. He's just a little narrow, constructed from one to the other. He could use a little bit more bone as well. The red doe got a nice silhouette to her. I like her from the side a lot. Good chest floor. Her skeleton's a little more appealing up on the top side in terms of her spine. Probably again like the wether ahead of her, just a little too frail in terms of muscle width and bone. Again, probably more of what I would say, just needs to have a bit more punch here in our market division. So nice class, and certainly a very powerful wether here to get her started.
Results of medium weight class 5C. First, Addison Wagner. Second, Austin Cordone. Third, to Kylie Kaler. Fourth, to Colleen Haynes. Fifth, to Madison Myers. Sixth, to Reagan Fieser Favorite. And seventh, to Reed Stamball. Reading down your program, 6253174. Entering the ring now, we have Class 5D. This will be the last class before our medium weight division. Exhibitors can include Emma Harrison, Alyssa Costa, Jenna Stamball, Kylie Medlin, Gannon Hackler, and Jaden Fieser Favorite. There are 6 exhibitors in this class, with goats weighing 82 to 85 pounds.
another nice class winner. Looks like he's recovered a little bit from the many trips in here already in the ring. And we've talked about, in showmanship, how it's easier to show one that's built nice, and this one does give us some really nice pieces from a design standpoint. He runs uphill, he's long neck. He's got a nice touch. It's kind of coming back. He's cooled off a little bit. He's not quite as hot as the last few times I've had my hands on him. So there's sure adequate muscle in him. He's one of those that he's a little pouty. I just love livestock that have a little more attitude, a little cocky, and come in the ring and throw their head up. He's just the opposite. He kind of has his old head laying down. He just doesn't have that thoroughbred-looking racehorse appearance to him when he comes through the gate. So he could be it would benefit him a bunch if he would just be a little cockier out here in the ring. In second, another nice handling Weather. He's really squared up good in his rack. He's got some pin width to him as I compare him to the Blackhead. Again, just a little piecey. Doesn't hook up as nice from the side. Not as heavy boned as your class winner, but there's more product. Got a nice touch when the young lady gets him braced up. The Black Weather, again, I thought he just pretty comfortably comes up in here as a contender for second. His body length is good. I think we can argue that structurally there's some advantages in him, in his blade and the way his forerib hooks into it that we maybe don't find here, and especially the lower shoulder of the Weather winds up in second. I think there's enough of a disadvantage, though, when you get your hands on him. He just needs to be squared up a bit more, and his back shape and pin width need to be a little bit wider to beat that one right ahead of him. I think as you watch these next three move, that's kind of how I sorted them. This one here that the young lady has, he keeps his top together. There, again, just not enough muscle difference to make a call or to worry about. He just happens to be quite a bit stronger in his pasterns. The design of his hind leg is a little bit better than the two we have completing the class. We get this one stopped and propped up. We talked about in showmanship. He looks good. He's a little too frail for a market animal, in terms of just not having enough bone and substance to him. But boy, he's tall fronted. He's long necked. He just needs to be stouter. He definitely needs to be stronger in his pastures. And same with the other Red Weather here. I'd just like to strengthen him up a little bit in his running gear, kind of like the one ahead of him. He needs to be a little bit stouter. I just thought there was a little bit of an advantage in the sternum and front third of the body to the one that ends up second from last versus this Weather right here.
Results of Class 5D medium weight goats. First went to Kylie Medlin, second to Alyssa Costa, third to Jaden Feezer Favorite, fourth to Jenna Stamball, fifth to Gannon Hackler, and sixth to Emma Harrison. We are now ready to select our champion medium weight goat. From Class 5A, we have Jaden Feezer Favorite and Ava Boyle. Weights on these goats both was 77 pounds. 5B, we have Gwen Boyle first and Elizabeth Worley second. These goats weighed 78 and 79 pounds. Class 5C, Addison Wagner and Austin Cordone are exhibiting goats that weighed 80 and 81 pounds. And from our last class, we have Kylie Medlin and Alyssa Costa with goats weighing 84 and 85 pounds. Your champion medium weight goat award was sponsored by DLG Farms, the Guyman family, Bounds Accounting and Tax Services, and the Farmer's Wife Designs. Your reserve award was sponsored by Cashman's Grandkids and Kitchen by QBI. We need Class 9A light heavyweights and Class 9B light heavyweights to ringside at this time. Light heavy, Class 9A and B to ringside.
this is a nice division. We're going to have two very good champions come out of here, and you know, if it was the perfect world, we could take the goods of the two champions and then we come up with one that's a big-time player at a high level. They're going to be a little different, but yet they're the two quality weathers that we have out here in the lineup. That would be the two that we come out of Class 3 and Class 4. Let's just briefly discuss them. Class 3, there's not one that we've seen so far today that's opened up as big as he is in his chest. He's excellent in his rib cage. I like how it's just shaped, and then boy, everything up above that is just really nice when you get your hands on him. You know, he's athletic. He moves good. If we could lengthen his hip out and maybe just give him a little more length of neck and run him uphill like we have in the one behind him, then he becomes just a really, really big-time player. And then the design of the white weather that wins Class 4, like we kind of commented several times, you know, he runs uphill, he's long neck, he does give you a nice presentation. We get our hands on him, you know, he's good, but he's not near as good as the one ahead of him in terms of his touch and his feel. So nice pair, those are your two. Class 3 will be our champion. Class 4 will be our reserve. Congratulations to these two young ladies.
Your champion medium weight goat was exhibited by Addie Wagner, and your reserve champion heavyweight goat was exhibited by Kylie Medlin. We are now ready for our light heavyweight division. Our light heavyweight division is smaller in numbers than some of our other divisions and will move quickly. In this class of 9A, we have 3 entries: Wyatt Rashi, Bryce Dennis, and Riley Dell. Class 9B, you need to be at ringside: Gwen Boyle, Kinley Andrew, Elliot Weishauer. At this time is our first call for Class 9C: Emma Harrison, Wyatt Keeney, and Wyatt Snyder. Please, all light heavyweight classes B and C, be to ringside at this time.
All right, we are here with David Guyman, and I went up to David and I said, David, can you explain to me a little bit about showing goats? And then you went in the ring and won Champions Challenge. So first and foremost, congratulations on that.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, a lot of just perseverance, just making sure your animal is good, make sure it cooperates with you, make sure you have that bond with them. Just because the best way to do it is to work as one. So if you and your goat work enough together, you are one, you'll conquer many things.
So I sat down with David and I was like, hey, let's just look at this champion drive. And everything that David said to me is exactly what the judge says. So we have a really good authority here. So Dave, wanted to bring you on as we get towards the back end of the show and anticipating our champion drives. Just explain for us a little bit, as a judge, what are some of the things you're looking for in an excellent market goat?
When you're looking at your goat, the best way to look at it is you want one that drives uphill, and by that I mean one, its front end.
Oh, we'll come right back.
Their body length is good. They just kind of balance up, I think, a little bit better than the doe does. Of the two, I felt that the young man's weather's got a little more bone. He's got some forearm to him. I'm just going to say maybe just a little stouter look or terminal look that we maybe don't find in the weather here in second. Young lady doing a good job getting him shown. You get him stopped and propped up. He presents himself very nice, and the way he's constructed up in the front third of his body, his length is good. He's just a little too frail. He needs more bone. He needs to be opened up with a little better shape from one end to the other. But I thought from the side, these two fit together a little bit better. The doe, a little deep, you know, I don't know that I wouldn't call her any lighter muscled than these two. I think the muscle's pretty irrelevant, but I think as we look at her from the side, she's just getting a little more mature in her rib, and doesn't balance out quite as nicely because of that. But big old productive kind of a goat.
Results of Class 9A is as follows. First to Wyatt Rashi, second to Riley Dell, third to Bryce Dennis. Into the ring at this time, we have light heavyweight Class 9B, Gwen Boyle, Kinley Andrew, Elliot Weishauer. Goats are weighing 91 and 92 pounds.
You ever break the sweat? All right. Another one that we saw in showmanship, and this young man's got a very nice goat. Beautiful handle when we get our hands on him. You know, his body length is good. You know, he's fresh to the touch. And so I think in terms of composition, he's one of the really nice ones that we've had in the ring out here so far. So, and we get him stopped and put together. We talked about, you know, the showmanship part and trying to get, you know, a little bit more out of that neck and chest by kind of wrapping around just a little bit. That guy's so long neck that it can really make a difference on him. And so that's a very nice weather. It'll be fun to see him out here in this championship drive. For second, there's not enough difference in muscle, in my opinion, to really get, you know, call that the difference. I think they're very similar to one another. As we put them on the walk, that's where I thought they kind of sorted. This one's a little truer from behind, the way he handles his hocks, or at least today he is. It might be a little bit of an attitude problem with the red one, the way he's fighting it out here. Just kind of kept himself together a little bit better off his hind leg. The red one, like I said, there's no difference in muscle. He's just kind of out here throwing his legs every which direction from behind. He just needs to settle in a little bit more and be a little bit more attentive when we put him on the walk. But he's got some body depth. He's got a nice neck and shoulder just like the one ahead of you. We just need to stout both of them up just a nickel bit more.
Results of Class 9B light
Jeff
heavyweights.
seems to be
First
back
went
up,
to
so-
Elliot Weishauer, second to
right.
Kinley Andrew, and third to Gwen Boyle.
Pick it up.
Entering the ring now is Class 9C. This is our last class of light heavyweight goats. We have Emma Harrison, Wyatt Keeney, and Wyatt Snyder. Goats are weighing 94 and 95 pounds. And we want to congratulate Gwen Boyle for being our rate of gain winner this year for our goat department. As the rate of gain winner, she received a trophy and a ribbon, and that was donated by RF Warner Sons Incorporated, and we appreciate their sponsorship. Goats in this class are weighing 94 and 95 pounds. We're looking for Wyatt Rashi and Riley Dell, Elliot Weishauer, and Kinley Andrew to be ringside and ready to come back in for the champion and reserve champion selection.
All right, we're back with David. So we left this conversation talking about a goat walking uphill, and you can actually see that on the goat. It's like the back points up the hill, and that speaks to a strong animal.
Oh yeah, so that basically what's happening there is their front end, they have a taller front end than their back. So when they squat down on their rear end and really drive with their back muscle, or with their butt muscles actually, it'll drive them uphill, and that'll show that they just look better when they're driving uphill.
Another close decision on top, and we're going to stick the redhead, and he's, I guess both the redheads, aren't they? Pay attention there. The redhead or darker headed Weather, that from the side, his body length is really good, his trimness. Get your hands on him. I like the way he's made in his rack too. I think it's opened up just a little bigger, and he handles a little nicer in that regard than what we have here in the spot. He needs to be stouter. You know, he's a little flatter hip, a little finer bone. Just in general, we'd like to open his body cavity up some if we could. But the design, the length, the smoothness, we got a little nicer touch to him when we get our hands on him. The old spotted Weather here, it's again from behind would be one that would capture your attention a little quicker. His pin width is good. Down in his twist is really pretty good. He's got some chest floor as well. Behind his shoulder, he's a little tighter made and doesn't shape up quite as nice in his rack. I'd like to take a little middle out of him. He's just a little deep-bodied, and like to trim him up a little bit in the lower third, but that's a close decision. It can kind of go back and forth either direction, and we'll just keep with a little more look. The black-headed Weather that we have that comes here next, just a good productive goat. He's got some body depth to him. He's just a little awkward in his structure again in terms of his top and his hip. Probably needs to be a little stouter too from behind, but his rib cage is good. He's grown well, he's gained well, so there's some things that he's done quite nicely at this point in his life.
Results of Class 9C light heavyweights: first to Wyatt Snyder, second to Wyatt Keeney, and third to Emma Harrison. In the ring at this time, we bring in our class winners, and we will select our light heavyweight champion in reserve. From Class 9A, we have Wyatt Rashi with a goat weighing 86 pounds. Second in that class was exhibited by Riley Dell. Her goat weighed 89. Elliot Weishauer won Class 9B with a goat weighing 92 pounds, and Kinley Andrew was second with a goat weighing 92. And from our last class, we have Wyatt Snyder and Wyatt Keeney with goats weighing 94 and 95 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our light heavyweight division drive.
All right, so we were talking about a strong front end. I believe you mentioned talking about a strong rear end. So as we move down the goat, what are we looking for kind of in the middle?
So towards the middle, you're looking for a good rack shape. So you don't want them to be too skinny, because then they're not going to hold as much meat. And so you want them to be a little more wider, and that it's good when it runs wide all the way through.
And then we come down to the back end. All right, a good strong goat's going to have a good, what a judge might call the back third. So looking at their back leg, their rump, all that. So what kind of shape are we looking for there?
So on the back end, we're looking for a good round shape. You don't want it to be flat, because then there's not as much muscle, which is not as much meat. What helps with that is having a good thick bone structure. So bigger bone, it'll be bigger, wider, stronger. You'll have the whole thing.
All right, so David, I'm going to put you on the spot for one more question. In this lineup over here, which one do you like?
If you have any questions, please ask us at the table.
To be honest, I'm thinking the young man with the red head. I'm thinking he's probably the better one out here. It's got a better strong back to it. It may not have the biggest rear end to it, but I think it's it.
I'll see what happens. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
I think the champ is pretty simple. Young man, steady Eddie. Good job, buddy. You got a good goat. Let's pull him out there. That's going to be your champion. For reserve, we're kind of back and forth. I'm really kind of boiling down between the heavier goat right behind him or his classmate. I think just the way this heavier goat, he hooks up behind his shoulder. He's pretty trimmed to the touch. There's some advantages that I like about him from some structural things that we don't maybe find in the classmate to your champion. So, partner, we're going to use him for our reserve here in this light heavy division. Congratulations.
In your light heavyweight division, your champion was Elliot Weishauer and your reserve was Wyatt Snyder. We'll see them back at the end of the show for the selection of grand champion meet goat. That brings us to our heavyweight division. So we're looking for Class 12A, heavyweight goats, Alexis Oryx, Ava Boyle, Boone Harrison, Owen Hackler, and Elliot Weishauer. That would be 5 goats in this class. As you bring goats to the ring, you might as well start bringing goats in Class 12B and 12C ringside at this time. If you have a heavyweight goat, A, B, or C class, bring them ringside at this time. Heavyweight goat exhibitors, we are waiting for you. In the ring come our 5 exhibitors, Alexis Oryx, Ava Boyle, Boone Harrison, Owen Hackler, and Elliot Weishauer. These 5 goats are weighing 96 and 97 pounds. We're looking for Andrew Natz, Jacob Green, Elliot Weishauer, and Reagan Fieser Favorite to have Class 12B goats ringside. While our judge is making this selection, parents, attention in the barn, parents, check your girls' clothing. Someone is missing an Ariat belt with a nice buckle. It was found in the bathroom. They're going to be looking for it sometime this week.
Well, I think the obvious, and our winner here is he's a powerful little rascal. He's just really bold made. He's opened up big in his chest and back behind. A lot of muscle. For me personally, he's a little too small in his kind. I like him just a bit bigger in their framework and kind of just stretch him out. But he is what he is in this class here. He just dominates the field in terms of amount of muscle and product that he has. This little red doe is a nice one from the side. She balances out really good. Her neck and shoulder fit together nice. Her structure is a huge advantage over the one that we bring here in third to him in terms of her pastures and the way she stays together as I compare her to the wether that comes in third. There might be just a little more stoutness to him in terms of his bone, the center part of his thigh. We put him on the move. I don't like him quite as well, especially off his hind leg. He's a little soft on his rear pasture, and I like to strengthen him up there. But that, for me, was kind of the close decision here in the class as to which one of those two we're going to slide into the second slot. Next in line here in fourth, just a little more production in him in terms of some rib and some bone. Both him and the black wether we have that completes this class are just a little too frail, a little flatter bodied. We want to shape them up a little bit better, kind of give them a little bit more of a terminal look. The black wether is really trim and tall fronted and long. It just needs to be stouter, I think, in a market show.
Results of Class 12A heavyweight goats. First to Elliot Weishauer, second to Ava Boyle, third to Alexis Horrocks, fourth to Boone Harrison, and fifth to Owen Heckler. Moving down your program, 3, 2, 4, 5, and 1. In the ring at this time, we have Class 12B heavyweight goats. Andrew Natz, Jacob Green, Elliot Weishauer, and Reagan Fieser Favorite. These goats are weighing 98 to 100 pounds. We should have 3 goats in the makeup area at this time. Andrew Natz, Addison Wagner, and Wyatt Rashi. Again, 3 goats in the makeup area at this time, please.
These first 2 wethers are more impressive when we get our hands on them, especially true here with the black-headed wether. He squares up really nice out of his shoulder, and his rack is very dimensional when you get in behind him. It'd be fun to see him move a little more comfortable off his hind leg. He just kind of waddles out here long, and again, I think he looks athletic enough, but maybe just not quite ready for that stage of the game as far as showmanship is concerned. The one in second is most like him when we get our hands on him. He's got a nice touch to him. He's a little tough to get shown as well out here. He's just not as bold and not as powerful as your class winner, but as we say that and we compare him to the other 2, he's really got a good trim look, trim touch. He's got a nice height. He squares up a little nicer at his loin edge than the other 2. This doe here, just a little fat. Okay, I love her design in terms of structure and levelness, but she's a little deep body, just getting a little soft. We kind of get them at this weight. That kind of comes with it sometimes if they're not big enough frame. But structurally, she's got some real good pieces to her. And then the red hip wether that completes his class. He's as big and long as anything here in the class. He's got the framework. But just gets a little plain from the side, kind of like the doe ahead of him. He gets a little heavy middled, but he doesn't hook up quite as nicely in his top line and out of his tail set like the doe does to balance out quite as nicely.
Results of Class 12A heavyweight goats. Results of 12B heavyweight goats. First went to Elliot Weisshower, second to Jacob Green, third to Andrew Natz, and fourth to Reagan Fieser Favorite. This is our last regular class of the evening, 12C heavyweight goats. We have 3 entries, Andrew Natz, Addison Wagner, and Wyatt Rashi. These goats are weighing 101 to 106 pounds. We need the following exhibitors ringside, ready for our champion drive. Elliot Weisshower with both entries, Ava Boyle and Jacob Green.
All right. I believe it's the final class. We're getting pretty close anyway. And another nice winner. He'll look really well, represent well in this heavy division. Trimness is good, length is good. He's good in his running gear. I like him really well from his last rib back. He's got some squareness to his loin. He's got some width, and he sends it into his hip really nice. So he's a good rascal. Pretty easy to get him start the class. For second, there's, I think, enough of a trimness advantage when I get my hands on him here. Body length is a little bit better in the red-headed weather that we have in second. It probably needs to be stouter, and we'd like to open his rib cage up more, make him stouter, wider pinned if we could. But I liked his length. I liked his trimness. I thought he's a little cleaner in the lower third of his body, down in his sternum and lower third maybe than the red weather is. There could be a bit of an advantage in just natural body width here in the red one. But for me, we get him out here on the side. He gets just a little too fat looking in the lower third of his body, down in the floor of his chest and lower third, and probably could use just a little bit more bone at this weight to make him look stout enough at this particular weight range. Good class winner again. Another fun division here to sort through in our final heavyweights.
Results of Class 12C heavyweight goats. First, Addison Wagner. Second, Andrew Natz. And third, to Wyatt Rashi. We are now going to select our heavyweight champion and reserve. From Class 12A, Elliot Weisshower. This goat weighed in at 97 pounds. Second in that class was Ava Boyle with a goat weighing 96 pounds. From Class 12B heavyweight goats, Elliot Weisshower is exhibiting a goat weighing 99 pounds, and Jacob Green's goat weighs 98 pounds. And from our last class, Addison Wagner is exhibiting a goat weighing 104, and Andrew Natz is exhibiting a goat weighing 101. Your champion heavyweight award is being donated by Dave, Laura, and the Zepp family, Bounds Accounting and Tax Services, and the Farmer's Wife's Designs. Your reserve champion heavyweight is sponsored by Pat and Jerry Brunst and Bounds Accounting and Tax Services. If you had a light, medium, or light heavyweight champion or reserve, you need to make your way to the check-in area at this time for the selection of our grand champion goat. I gotta be honest, goat people, it's a little disappointing, the alumni showmanship. We're not nearly where the sheep or the pigs were today. So if you want to be an alumni showman, $20 buys your way in.
Well, we sure wind things up with another really nice division, a lot like our sheep show last night. We're going to be very proud of all of them that come back out here for the grand drive. I think the quality's been extremely good up here on the top end. Kind of comes down to class 2 and 3, in my opinion. The black-headed Weather, he's really bold in his rib. I think as you come out of his blade and the center part of his rib cage, he's good. He's good up high. He's got a big square back in him. He's just an ornery rascal to get shown, and it's been a little bit of a disadvantage too, the way he fights him and puts back. As a result, he just doesn't look like he hooks up quite as nice and smooth as the heavyweight. Class 3 props up, looks really good. You know, I think you put him on the move, you'd say, well, there's not a whole lot of difference, but this guy's neck length, he's taller shouldered, the ability to hook up out of his blade a little stronger and leveler than the black-headed Weather, I think really accentuates the balance that he has. His body length is good, he's trimness, and I think has enough muscle that we're not going to brag about how powerful he is. I think he certainly has enough to represent this particular champion. So congratulations to the two of them. Class 3 will be our champion, Class 2 will be our reserve. We're going to have fun here in a few minutes in our grand drive.
Congratulations to Addie Wagner for champion heavyweight meat goat and Elliot Weishauer for reserve champion heavyweight meat goat. We're now going to select our grand champion and reserve grand champion meat goat. We are then going to do our producer class or our bred and owned meat goat, and then we will finish the evening with our alumni showmanship. Dr. Wagner, when you're ready. In the ring at this time, we have our grand champion meat goat drive for 2025. From your lightweight division, we have Estella Gover. Her goat weighs 73 pounds. The reserve in that division was Alyssa Costa with a goat weighing 73. Your medium weight goats, Addie Wagner was your division winner. Her goat weighed in at 81 pounds, and Kylie Medlin was your reserve with a goat weighing 85. Your light heavyweight goat was exhibited by Elliot Weishauer, and the reserve in that division by Wyatt Snyder. Those goats weighed 92 and 95 pounds. And out of our last division, we had Addie Wagner with a champion weighing 104, and Elliot Weishauer's goat weighing 99. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our grand champion meat goat drive for the 2025 fair. I'm going to ask you to put your hands together again for our wonderful judge who came from Kansas in here to help us out, Mr. Scott Shockey. He's come in from the Flint Hills of Kansas. He's got a grandbaby coming in here in the next week. We really appreciate him coming back to the East Coast and judging the last few days for us. Put your hands together one more time. Real quick, while we're finishing up here and our judges taking one final look, the following are in an alumni showmanship. Crystal Stowers, Hannah Haynes, James Garvick, Sophie Battaglia, Hannah Staub, Noah Guyman, Peyton Zepp, Kelsey Zepp, and Chick Haynes.
Well, I've enjoyed the past couple of days. You're just as hot here as we are at home. A lot of you will appreciate this, you farm wives. I told my wife last week when Bobby called and they were a little bit of a pinch to get a judge, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to go to Maryland and judge. She says, oh, great, I'm going to go with you. And plane tickets out here were not cheap. And I said, we have, I don't know, 20 acres of hay on the ground. They got 2 inches of rain on it. I said, when I leave, you're going to need to get the hay baled up, and you're going to have to get it put up before I get back because there's a chance of rain before I get back. So today I talked to my really happy wife. She's been in the hay field. First bale didn't wrap, second bale wrapped, third bale didn't wrap. Yeah, I was in trouble, so maybe you should stay here a couple extra days and let her cool off. But you farm wives know exactly what it's like. We leave, our husbands leave, and you're left at home to do all the work, and I appreciate it when she allows me to do that. But I want you to understand I do it because I don't like making my wife mad. I like it because I have a chance to come back and give to something that, you know, for us kids growing up many, many years ago, we always looked forward to the county fair. It was something that just kind of made our year. When we were little, this was our international show. We talked about it yesterday in one of those shows, how for most of these kids, they won't go to the state fair, they won't go to Louisville. You probably will never get to Denver. That's halfway across America. So this is the show that you look forward to and you work awful hard for. And so I always enjoy it when I have the opportunity to work with our young people. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have eaten goat before? Hands up. Ooh, small population. So I love telling stories. I have to tell you my goat eating experience story. Y'all just relax. Just relax. Don't work your goats. It's hot. I already got my mind made up. So I was in Mexico several years ago judging, and if you've ever been to Mexico, they talk about Mexican time or whatever they call it. It's true. The show was supposed to start at, I think, 10. Finally, at 2 o'clock, they come to the motel and get me. I hadn't had lunch because we were going to get lunch, and so we're driving to where the show is, and we stop along the road. There's a tent, and we get lunch. And I didn't know what I was eating. Everybody else was eating, so we go up there, and I don't speak Spanish, and so my interpreter ordered me a couple of burritos. And we're sitting down at the table, eating our burritos, and it's really good. I assume it's pork. It tastes like pork. And as I'm eating my burrito, one of the natives ordered the skull out of the pot, and inside the skull is the brain. And as they pull this skull out of the pot, we got a meats guy down here. A goat skull looks like a German Shepherd dog skull. And as they pull this skull out of the pot, my stomach starts to flip and flop, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to keep my burrito down, because I honestly thought I was eating dog. Okay, it looked like a dog's head. And so I get a hold of my interpreter, and I said, what in the world are we eating? And she was kind of feeling the same way. She didn't know. And so as we chatted with the guy back there in the back behind, and by the way, he pulled out a big old cleaver and he cracked that skull open to dump that brain out on a tortilla, and that guy, he just slurped her up like it was one of these sundaes here with peaches on it. He loved it. And anyway, come to find out, it was goat. And so my first experience eating goat, it was good stuff until the head came out of the pot, right? And but I will say, it really is good. It's a product that, depending on what region of the world you live in, and I'm sure this region has a pretty good population of people that eat goat, it is a growing market. And no doubt, this is a growing project in 4-H. You know, in our state, in most states, goats have surpassed the market lamb show. The change that these things make from year to year in terms of physical appearance is just incredible. We would have not 5 years ago seen a goat that wins that second division. Okay, we just didn't make them like that. And now today, that's more of the norm, okay? So they've done a lot of progress in terms of changing these goats. So, all right, enough of stories. You kids have been a delight to work with. You know, we made good time today. It was just so hot. I didn't want anybody to get all wound up because of the heat. There's really 3 out here that I think are strong contenders. The 2 that come out of the second division, and then the young Steady Eddie here that won Division 3. I think those are the ones that really kind of suit me the best. If you'll give me a couple of minutes, I'll take one more look, and we'll go out and select the pair that really suit me. Let's give all of our young people a nice hand, especially those that are out back. They're not the ones that were fortunate enough to get out here. They're the ones that make this show such a success. Champion, you know, just, he's a truck. He's a good handling goat. He's a little more probably in tune with what we see today. Just really opened up good, and nice touch and good quality to him. The 2 that we in here for a reserve, I just want to give you a little brief description. His division reserve, a good-looking rascal. This young lady does such a nice job in the presentation. She's been really strong all show. She gets this thing running uphill, nice neck, and even loose. His neck shape, his chest floor, his underline's a little bit nicer than our light medium. I think he hooks up a little bit better right in behind his scapula. The light medium, really long, got a nice touch. You've done a good job feeding him. He's fresh to the handle. There's probably going to be a little bit of a muscle advantage just because of sheer weight on him. Again, maybe doesn't come together quite as nice from the side. I've always been one of those that I feel like when we get to the backdrop, I want to stand behind the one that makes me look good, you know, and so that extra wow factor in design I think is pretty important. And guess what? You've got that kind of goat. So let's give her a nice hand. Congratulations. Good job.
Your grand and reserve grand champion market goats came from your medium weight division. Your grand champion weighed 81 pounds and was exhibited by Addie Wagner. And your reserve grand champion goat, I get to say it one more time tonight, was exhibited by Miss Kylie Medlin. We are going to move into our bred and owned class. If you have a bred and owned goat, please be ringside at this time. I'm losing my papers here. We have the following exhibitors registered: Ava Boyle, Gwen Boyle, Alyssa Costa, Jaden Feeser favorite, Reagan Feeser favorite, Colleen Haynes, Emma Harrison, Boone Harrison, Alexis Horwitz, Wyatt Keeney, Hope Ridinger, and Elliot Weishauer. If you're bringing your goats, bring your goats. You're one goat. Not every goat. You get to pick one goat, bred and owned. In the ring, here we go. If you're participating in alumni showmanship, get your goat and get to the ring. Alumni showmanship exhibitors, get your goat and get to the ring. After alumni showmanship, you can meet at the backdrop for pictures. Kelsey is going to participate in alumni showmanship, and then she will be at the backdrop to take pictures. In the ring at this time, we are doing bred and owned goats. That means that every goat in this ring, these exhibitors own their mother, made breeding decisions, and have raised the goats.
All right, they told me we need to place all of them, and I said, now you're going to test my thinking. It's getting a little late at night. We have some that were in the same class. I think we've got them organized about the same. We've got such a huge variation in weight. We do have a couple in here that were real strong contenders. Obviously, the black-headed Weather, we saw him out here just a few minutes ago. Big production kind of a goat. as you kind of work through here, we just try to keep the top enders up here towards the top end. The one thing that is kind of fun to see, there's several in here that were either first, second, or third in that class, in their class that they were in. So y'all are doing a really good job on the Bread Gnome program, so keep it up, okay? There's a lot of opportunities today with AI work and embryo work to make a tremendous amount of change in your breeding program, and it don't matter what species you work with. So if you got a little extra time, a little extra money, I encourage you to look into doing some AI work, especially in this goat deal, because it can make a world of difference. So let's give all these young people a nice hand. This is really pretty cool. This many kids are involved in the Bread Gnome program. Congratulations.
So the results of this class is as follows. Your champion bred and owned market goat was exhibited by Elliot Weishauer, and that award was sponsored by Mr. Andy and Miss Joanne Cashman. Second was Alyssa Costa. Third, Gwen Boyle. Fourth, Colleen Haynes. Fifth, Reagan Fieser Favorite. Sixth, Ava Boyle. Seventh, Jaden Fieser Favorite. Eighth, Alexis Horich. Ninth, Wyatt Keeney. 10th, Emma Harrison. And 11, Hope Ridinger. We are now going to do our alumni showmanship. Where's Kylie? Kylie Medlin, you're judging. Kylie Medlin, come and get your microphone. Hey, Kylie. Kylie, I got a couple extra bucks here for you because I have some exhibitors that I'm. What can I, pony up a couple bucks?
So we're here at the big conclusion of the Market Goat Show with our grand champion Market Goat, Addison Wagner. Addison, congratulations. Got to be an exciting moment for you.
Thank you. Yes, it really is.
So I've watched you as a 4-H'er. You've grown up through the goat project. You've been doing goats. You've shown excellent goats. What does it mean to finally win grand champion? What does that mean to you?
It just proves all the hard work, long nights in the barn, and all the nights that you wanted to give up were worth it in the end. And it just shows like a reward of all the work you've put in all summer, all spring.
And so there's a big celebration for you to come, right? That on Friday night you're going to auction the goat off so you get to sell the grand champion goat. That's got to be a lot of fun too. That's got to be very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And there's 8 o'clock, I'm pretty sure, is when all the grand champions will go through. And it's just a cool little celebration we do to acknowledge all the work that went in.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations again on a wonderful project.
I have to be honest with you, there are some